I just want to thank all of you Chibits real quick, because last week I asked if the episode of Tokyo ESP was rushed, and a bunch of you Chibits told me that it was not rushed. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to let me know it wasn't rushed, and I love you all for that. So anyways, moving on to this episode review of Tokyo ESP. Okay, so the main first half of the episode is pretty much training with the panda god, Ayumu, and, getting to see Rinka get the shit beat out of her, and all of a sudden she turns it around and beats the crap out of Ayumu. That's pretty much the first half of the episode, and in the second half, you get to see, Ayumu and Murasaki fight a person that also has an Esper power towards the end of the episode. And so we have two different parts to talk about, and honestly, I like both segments of this episode. It really has great progression, it has great character development, and I'm really interested to find out more about Ayumu's abilities. For instance, in this episode, we get a straight-out example of his abilities in different situations it could possibly help in. So the second half, okay, when this Esper comes up out of nowhere and tries to kill Ayumu's mother because she's spouting out racist crap of trying to put down Espers, saying Espers should be locked up, so forth, so on. You pretty much get the gist of it. And so you have an Esper that rebels against that, tries to kill her, and Ayumu, luckily, he's right next to that and tries to stop it. But the interesting thing about here, if you look past the plot convenience of, Ayumu being there to help out his mother at that right specific time, I will tell you right now, I love the way they added in the inner monologues and thoughts of Ayumu trying to figure out what he should do to save his mother and save, Murasaki and different things like that. That was really cool, and I like the interesting elements that they added with that. That is something that is really unique, and that is something I don't see a lot in anime, so I will clap to that for Tokyo ESP to add something like that in and really make it entertaining. I really enjoyed the inner monologues of Ayumu. Now, another thing, Murasaki, we find out something interesting about her ability. Supposedly, from what we've seen a couple episodes ago, she could pretty much just read the history of certain objects. But in this episode, she realizes and learns an ability that is very, very interesting and will help her out later on. For instance, when she grabs these nunchucks in this episode, she instantly remembers the history of these nunchucks, like Kung Fu masters and stuff of her father or whatever, and she can actually use the abilities that her father did, like with the nunchucks. So, like, Jackie Chan was to use those nunchucks, she would pull off some Jackie Chan type fucking shit. Like, she'd be beating the shit out of everybody. So, pretty much, Murasaki actually has a very deadly ability. For instance, if she can get her hands on a weapon that is amazing, has like someone really skilled behind it, she could just slaughter anyone. So that is really cool. But the big thing I like about this ability that Murasaki has is that it does have a weakness, because at first looking at it, it seems like it's freaking OP. Because, I mean, picking up a freaking random weapon, if it's someone skilled, you could copy their moves, that's freaking OP. Let's just be honest here. But to see how her body actually can't keep up with those moves, for instance, she has fatigue afterwards, like she can only keep up with the nunchucks for about 20 seconds and she falls over and can't withstand herself any longer. I like how they added that in. It really balances out Murasaki's power. It makes it believable, because, I mean, if I was to pick up some nunchucks, okay, and I was to pull off some Grandmaster freaking black belt or whatever type, nunchuck moves, and I'm a noob, what do you think is going to happen to my body? Yeah, so, I mean, I like it how they added that in, and they really made it realistic, even though technically Esper Power's not realistic. I mean, they added, a nice, good, realistic, I guess, downfall to that power. Now, besides that, one thing I do like, too, is how they actually added in body fatigue in this episode. Not just, Murasaki had body fatigue, but it was also Ayumu. For instance, when he went up against Rinka in this episode in the first half, he actually could predict all the moves Rinka was going to do. For instance, the counters that she was going to do against him, and he knew he could counter her if he could, do it. But the thing is, his body would not keep up with the movements. For instance, he wasn't physically strong enough to be able to counter Rinka's moves. And that shows you right there, once again, just because you have a strong Esper power does not mean that you are invincible. You need to actually train your physical body. For instance, Ayumu was to train his body, like a pro wrestler or something, okay? And he could move fucking fast, and he could actually read movements. Oh my god, you got someone that's extremely strong. So pretty much that's really the main things that went down this episode. Really good episode, honestly. And I'm glad all of you told me that it was not rushed, because now I could breathe easy, and I could just ride the anime and enjoy it. This episode, I liked how they progressed the episode. Like, the first half, once again, was focused on training, and the second half was fighting with Murasaki and Ayumu versus that Esper. Now, the big thing that pops up in this that has a lot of irony to it is that Ayumu's mother actually hates Esper. She's the racist. And the thing is, Ayamu is also an Esper, and his mother does not know that until the very end of this episode. And so this makes me believe that there's going to be some form of conflict between these two, probably next episode, because the mother's probably going to either abandon her child, throw him up into some form of containment area, I don't know, or she could have a change of heart, I don't know. But she is a politician. And most likely she's going to just try to sweep it under the rug since she is a politician. Either way, good episode of Tokyo ESP. I'm loving this series more and more, and I really love the Panda God. One thing I do want to bring up about the Panda, I had a couple of people last week, I think, spoil me to the Panda. Master Roshi, supposedly I get this word or name called Yoda. I know who Yoda is from Star Wars, but supposedly his name is Yoda. That's all I got from the comments from you Chibits last week in my last review. And so hopefully that's not a major spoiler, because I found out something about Yoda. Oh well. Overall, tell me your thoughts about this episode, everybody. I love all of you so much. You have a wonderful day or not, wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.